Well, joining us on the news at 10 to discuss the issue of inconclusive elections and legal implications is a senior legal practitioner, Mr. Michael Usanga, and he joins us live from Abuja. Thanks a lot for joining us on the news. Now, let's just discuss the fallout.
Ijoma. Thanks for having me.
That's great. Let's discuss this fallout now of the governorship polls. Now, we see inconclusive results in over 5 states. How busy do you think the courts are going to be this season?
Quite busy, Ijoma, quite busy. Not just on the states that elections, like you rightly pointed out, have been declared inconclusive, but even in other states where results have been declared. I've read news reports, I've heard news reports where candidates who have lost at various stages of the electoral process, have expressed some level of dissatisfaction and are warming up to, get to the tribunals and lodge their complaints against the declared outcomes of the election. So I think the courts are going to be very busy this time around. Not like what happened in 2015. We didn't have too many cases in 2015. But this time around, I think the courts are going to be really, really very busy, Ijoma.
Well, you're a legal practitioner. In some states, we heard, okay, it was a smart card reader, and then the margin of victory. We also heard about violence as well. Do you think the Electoral Act should have specific provisions spelled out, for each situation, for each infraction, and not just having to redo the whole process?
Well, I mean, if you look at the Electoral Act, the Constitution, and then most importantly, the guidelines for the conduct of the 2019 elections, these are the 3 most relevant documents or pieces of legislation that should guide the conduct of the 2019 election. More often than not, the conversation doesn't factor in the guidelines, but it's as important as the other 2 documents, and I mean the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and then the Electoral Act 2010. And if you look at guideline 47 of the guidelines, exactly 3 months issued by INEC. It was on the 12th of January of this year that the guidelines was issued. So it's exactly 3 months today. Guideline 47 actually lists a number of situations under which an election may be declared. By the way, I should have said that you're not likely to find in the Constitution or in the Electoral Act or even in the guidelines itself, the expression inconclusive. But the 3 pieces of legislation, and I call the guidelines a piece of legislation, not because it has been validly passed by the National Assembly, but it carries the weight of law. So I call it loosely a piece of legislation. And you're not likely to find the expression inconclusive or deadlock as used by some media organizations. Yes. But there are situations described in each of these texts where they might fit in with the situations that have warranted a declaration of inconclusivity, if I may use that word, Ijoma. So I was talking about guideline number 47. It lists a number of situations where the returning officer or the resident electoral commissioner, as the case may be, might want to declare that elections have not ended as anticipated or as envisaged by law and will ask that such an election be reconducted. There are about 9 different situations. It could be because someone snatched results and tore them away, tore them completely, or because some voters have refused the use of a smart card reader machine, or a smart card reader machine has failed, or a number of other options that are there listed therein in guidelines number 47. There are about 9 of them. I think the question is, the situations in the 6 states that you have mentioned have to be placed side by side with the provisions of guideline number 47 of the guidelines of INEC for the 2019 general elections, and we must then see whether these situations meet up with the requirements of guideline number 47.
All right, legal practitioner Mr. Michael Saha, thanks a lot for joining us and sharing your thoughts on the news at 10 tonight.
My pleasure, Ijoma. Thank